Okay, welcome to today's reading. Today's reading is all about how you can choose you. I did a quick meditation beforehand just to help ground myself and see if there was any guidance, and the how you can choose you was a big theme coming through repeatedly. So we'll see what we can get on that. We have three groups. We have group one with the Light Seers Tarot with this little crystal star. I actually don't know what crystal this is. This was something that a friend gifted me, and my daughter has claimed it as her own. But yeah, cute nonetheless. Group two is the Crow Tarot with the Labradorite. So here we go, like that. And group three is the Waite tarot with the Rhodonite. Okay, so take a moment to choose your pile. You can pause the video if you need to and do a quick meditation. Just choose whatever is most drawn, like you're drawn to, and we'll see how we go. Okay, welcome group one. If you chose the Light Seers Tarot and the little star crystal, this is today's reading for you. Today we're seeing what messages we can get from Spirit around how to choose you. That's what we want. I hope everyone's day's been alright so far. Sort of leading up to that time of year, it's just crazy, even if you do like it and everything is going well. So, okay, is that enough for now? Yeah. Alright, so we've got the Six of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, the Ace of Swords, the Hangman, and the Strength card in reverse. So I'll just have a brief look over everything before we go trying to pull any messages through. Six of Pentacles can quite often be reciprocity, but also maintaining a balance. So if you are maintaining your own reserves and looking after yourself, you are able to then help others as well. And I'm just getting a message about not taking from a needy place. So we'll have a little bit more of a look into that when we come back to it. Ten of Swords, it looks like it's, I guess this woman's walking away from barren lands or some sort of like hardship, or there's like she's been left with nothing anyway. Ace of Swords could be a case of overthinking or clarity. The Hangman, a different perspective, maybe a bit of illumination, or what's the other word? Enlightenment is the particular feeling for that card today. And then the Strength card is pretty self-explanatory, but it's in reverse. So we'll see what we get from that. So I'm getting a message that anything that you do from this space will create abundance. So I am thinking or feeling that now is particularly a good time of manifestation, or maybe just high vibrations for you, where things can only really turn out well. So if there's anything that you want to do at this point, now would be a good time to do it. Okay. For the Ten of Swords, they're saying that it's okay to walk away from something long term. And then I was hearing the Vera Blue song. I can't even remember what it's called. And she says, like, it's okay to walk away. I think it was like from something long term and beat your own drum or something like that. I'll mention the song in the description anyway. They're also saying there's some level of hurt here that hasn't been or needs to be discussed. Yeah, it's after the fact. So I'm wondering if whatever has happened in the past has left you in a place of needing therapy from it. They're also saying that the Six of Pentacles here could be, that's what this therapy could be, right? Is a way to put or invest into yourself. So, but also it comes with that territory of when we experience hard things in life, we can then share and help others that are going through similar things as well. Okay, so it's that level of insight or clarity that you have, having gone through this situation that's helped get you out of this situation. Trusting your own judgment and being confident in the choices that you've made. You have really good discernment. So when you're walking away and you're unsure, maybe it's hard to say, right, with this Ten of Swords card, what the situation was, because it could be so outlandishly obvious that it was a terrible situation, or something bad's happened that most people would probably be like, why wouldn't you walk away? It just makes sense to. But life is not always so black and white. So for some of us that are questioning our decisions as to whether we should walk away or if walking away was the right thing to do, you need to know to trust your own judgment and that you have good discernment around the decisions that you've made. And I don't think there was a possible way that you could have made a better choice. And it's funny that I'm getting that reference come through now, because that was actually something that I was getting come through as I was using the Palo Santo to clear the cards in the area before I actually started the meditation. One more thing, not that it's something I particularly paid too much attention to, but in this Ace of Swords card, there is a little crow or raven at the top of the card. It'll be a little bit hard to see, just in the top right corner there. And they're just saying that it's a messenger from spirit. So it's funny because I don't feel like all my messages come through from spirit in that way, but I do always feel when there are birds around, or particular birds, that it is almost the presence of spirit that I'm being graced with. So take it if it resonates. Okay, so whatever has happened so far has left you in this place of feeling like your world's been turned upside down. And you might be feeling a little bit jumbled at this point in time. They're saying that it can be hard to tell left from right, to be able to find any sort of direction or real direction, or to be able to tell what direction you need to go in, even if you already know what your end goal is. They are saying that your end goal is whatever is within your heart. So sometimes we think too much. Sometimes we're thinking about the logical shoulds and living in ego and being caught up in the capitalism like rat race, and well, you know, the house should ideally be the end goal, but maybe the house isn't actually the end goal. Maybe what's in your heart is finding a place that's closer to family, even if that means you don't obtain purchasing a house for like as soon. Maybe it doesn't quite come like that. Maybe you end up living with family, but ideally the point is that you get to live closer to family, which is what you wanted deep down in your heart. So obviously what that looks like will be different for everybody, but the message is to be paying attention to what is in your heart. If you don't know, then take some time to sit with yourself and just ask your heart, like, what is it that I want? And just sort of pay attention to the area, the heart center area, and just see what comes up. You can just sit back and just see what's the first thing that pops into your head, or what's the feeling that you get. For some of you, I'm getting a message that it is just like a great sense of self-empowerment. That's really fulfilling. And so something like that can be really hard because it's not a measured outcome necessarily. It's something that is quite nuanced and you're engaging as you go, but you will be able to tell, a key thing to look at is that whenever we're doing things that are coming from a place of inner work, we need to regularly check in and look back at where we started and take stock of where we started, what we've had to do to get to where we are, and how far we've actually come, but really make the time for it. This is something, it's kind of like a non-negotiable, and I'm the worst person for, prioritizing everything else over my own self-work sometimes, depending on how life is. And it's just something that if I took more time to do, not only would I be more grateful for the tenacity and the endurance and determination that I've had to just get through with bare bones situations, with like when there was not a lot of choices or very limited options, that I could actually look back and realize or recognize that what I've done has taken great strength to be able to do that. And I feel like that's the key here, is because this strengths card is in reverse. It's the key to recognizing your own strength. Until you can do this, you won't recognize your own strength, so you won't have that empowerment. And they're just really driving that home, and I am getting a little, it is getting hard to talk about. I'm getting emotional talking about it. I'm feeling like a little bit worked up as I'm talking about it. It's starting to get a bit better now. But they're really trying to drive home how important that message is. So that seems to me to be the most important thing here. It's like trusting yourself and the decisions that you've made and had to make, and knowing that, sometimes we need to take that look at ourselves, and it's not a place of where we haven't measured up and where we have, but maybe where we started from and where we've wound up. It's so understated or underestimated, the power that lies within such like a simple exercise that, it might only be 10 minutes, it might be an hour, but the amount of self-love and gratitude that we can like conjure for ourselves is amazing. I don't know why the word conjure came out, but that's just what's happened. So anyway, all right, so we get the picture there, right? You're going to trust the decisions that you've made and that you will make. And I want to reiterate the fact that you can't ever actually make any wrong decisions, right? There's no right or wrong, secret hidden answers. All we can do is do what we can in the moment, make the best decision with the information that we have, and just move forward. And if, like, I am a person that gets stuck with analysis paralysis terribly, and not moving, not making a decision or a choice, it can almost be worse, because it like keeps us stuck in that fear-ridden state where it begins to stagnate, and it can sort of take over other areas of our lives. Sometimes you just need to just make a decision, first thing that comes to mind, and just go with it. Hope for the best, do what, like, a little bit of research and preparation you can to help yourself if things don't work out, obviously. And you know your situation better than anyone, right? So I wouldn't go making any decisions that you weren't comfortable with, although they're highlighting that decisions like this are usually quite uncomfortable for a reason, because they are tough decisions to make, okay? So it's not like we just end up in this place, out of the sake of not having anything better to do, or, it's a little bit deeper than that. Okay, so moving on to time for an oracle card. I did just want to point out here that in this state, like in this Six of Pentacles card, it does look like the infinity figure or the number 8 figure is actually here in the background. There is also a tiny, there's another one. There's a couple of these infinity symbols. One on the Strength card on the girl's arm and one on the Ace of Swords just above the head. So there's definitely like a repeating message there, and I do feel like once you actually can come into your own power and your own strength, it'll be a lot easier for you. Whether it's a case of like you are realizing how abundant you are, or whether it's a case that you're now in a position where sort of like taking no hostages. I don't know if that's the right saying, but that's what's come through. It's like nothing can hold you back. You will be in your power. You will be creating your own abundance. Okay, let's see. So the oracle that we're using is the Work Your Light Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. So this is any messages for how group 1 can choose themselves, how you can choose you. Okay, so we have get grounded, empath, highly sensitive, connect with nature. And then birthing a new age, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense to me, sort of taking that time out to reflect on where you'd started and what it took to get to where you are and how far you've come and everything. In itself could almost be like a grounding exercise for you. If not, take it as you will. It might just be a case that you do need to go spend a little bit of time in nature, away. It's just like quiet time, just a little bit of time on your own, still time, quiet time to sit with yourself and just connect back to the earth and back to yourself. Sometimes we end up with so much of other people's energy within our own, and it's just overwhelming and it can cloud our judgment and whatnot. So getting grounded maybe before you tried out this exercise would be fantastic, but then again, it's just always best practice to be grounded if and when you can. And then I do get that feeling of the birthing new creations and dreaming a new world into being. For me, it actually lines up really well with when we step into that strength, like what I was saying, where we're sort of in that energy of creating our own abundance and whatnot, feeling empowered and taking action, right? Okay, that's all that I've gotten today for group 1, so I hope that you enjoyed it and it resonated. Leave a like, leave a comment if you would like to share on how this actually resonated for you, even if it didn't. And hopefully you have a good day. We'll catch you in another video. Welcome group 2. If you chose the Crow Tarot and the Labradorite, this is your reading on how you can choose you. Okay, the cards that we've had come out, we have the Queen of Wands, we have the Four of Swords, and we have, the Six of Cups in our first row. The second row we have Page of Swords, King of Cups, and the Four of Wands. So just have a brief look at what we've got. Queen of Wands. So this may be a time where you're feeling in your power, in your element, empowered in yourself. I'm getting a little bit of spotlight energy with this. Maybe it's a case that you've been pursuing dreams or something close to you, or something personal, something that is very inspiring or takes a strong, what is it? I'm also getting the word illumination for it, but maybe it's like a topic that you feel like there is regular illumination when you're learning about it. It's kind of that passionate energy, but there's movement with it. Okay, the Four of Swords, it could be like feeling burnt out or needing more rest. Maybe whatever has had you in this Queen of Wands energy has also had you going full speed ahead, and now it's a bit of time for some like rest or downtime. I'm actually interested to see what channel messages we do get come through though, because with the Six of Cups here afterwards, not sure. I mean, sometimes the Six of Cups can sort of be that, what is it, not performance, like success. We'll come back to that anyway. Definitely, yeah. Just the main thing that I can get from that straight away is just to make sure that you're taking adequate rest for yourself when and where you can, and prioritizing that. You know, sometimes we can't help but drop some of the balls, and I guess the trick is to know which ones we can and can't, and when, and prioritize ourselves. Otherwise, if we don't, we drop all the balls anyway, right? Okay, so Page of Swords. I am getting the word inaccuracy coming through here, so it's like maybe we're quite used to being like agile and accurate and quick, and sometimes we go too fast and we don't realize that we've made a mistake or we've jumped the gun, is sort of the feeling that I'm getting here. The King of Cups, to me, it's like fulfillment, and it can be being connected with our intuition. The Four of Wands here, celebration, can be that union as well. All right, we'll see what I can pull through, what messages we get, and go from there. Okay, I'm not getting anything different for the Queen of Wands to what I'd mentioned the first time. They're just sort of pointing out like the suns, the sunflowers, the Leos, like that, the spotlight. I wonder if it's like some sort of recognition or being well known for whatever your craft is or your passion, and being in your power with it. Okay, so the Four of Swords are just saying taking time to rest is something that you need more than it needs you. Sometimes we need to hear things in a very specific way for it to sort of click, or the penny to drop for us. And they are saying take your time to fill these cups slow and steady. They're not going to run out overnight. So whether that's a case of it may take you a little while to get there because you might have a lot going on, it's also not going anywhere either. So it sort of gives me that feeling of, you know, you can weed the garden tomorrow, the weeds will still be there for you. That's such a weird analogy. Okay, anyway. I do wonder if, with this Six of Cups here, if you have at times been a little bit unsure of what this looks like when you get there, Maybe there's like some other ruminating thoughts or something going on here, or maybe a negative thought, or maybe someone's like said something to you about it not working out, about you not being able to do it or not having the capacity. Maybe you, I don't know, if you're a parent, like, does anyone have the capacity all the time? But we all just do it and make it work, and you don't have to be a parent for that to, you know, resonate. Like, there's so many caretaking roles we can have in this world, and even if it's not caretaking, you may just live like a very busy, active lifestyle. But I wouldn't give any attention to those thoughts or those things that people are saying, because like, this is here, these full cups and these sunflowers, this is what it's all about. It's just you enjoying your fulfillment, whether they're there or not, right? They're probably always going to be there, but does it have any real weight to it? Probably not. I mean, even if it did, if, you know, sometimes we can be really logical with it and get a little bit caught up in it, and maybe it's a legit concern, but is it something that you can work around? Is it something that there's just another way? Is this just a challenge that you're giving too much weight to? Maybe the real challenge is in letting that stuff go. I do have to say too, I don't know if it is for this group or not, it could just be myself, but I actually had it in one particular reading, I can't remember which one it was, it might have been 2 readings ago, where my feet or my legs sort of went partly numb. Obviously, don't try to make this fit if it doesn't resonate for you. It's just as likely it could just be something that I am just physically experiencing that has nothing to do with you. For those that it does resonate with, I would love if you could share in the comments what's going on or how long it's been going on for. It'll be interesting to see if we get any other reference to it in the rest of the reading, but we'll move on for now anyway to the Page of Swords. They are saying no matter how many feathers you lose, you will win the race anyway. So it's sort of that message there where it was like, you know, the cups are still going to be there for you tomorrow. And it was like, you need to take that time to make sure that you do rest and you don't get too burnt out being in this Queen of Wands energy. But it's like, no matter what happens along this journey, you're going to win anyway. You're going to be successful. Like, what is meant for you is meant for you. And nobody else can be you. No one else can feel that because they're not you. And it doesn't mean that like 50 other people aren't trying to all do the same thing at the same time. And, you know, maybe 10 out of the 50 will all actually be successful in their very own ways, because, or more than that, because there's more than enough of us are needed. There is like an almost second message here with like to not stress about competition. Like I'm getting that theme come through quite a bit, right? Stressing about the competition is going to put you further into a burnout phase, from whether it's because you're stressing about it, overthinking about it, or just getting worked up about it, or just spending too much time when it's like your priorities could be different, right? And the Queen of Wands would have, like, you know, any queen is going to have competing priorities, and we just really need to take that time to get clear on what they are. But I feel like by the time that you're in this Page of Swords energy, you've already worked it out by then anyway, right? Hopefully this time of much needed rest, recovery, recuperation, or maybe you have a period of burnout and it is, I guess, all those things. Hopefully that in itself is enough to show you so that you don't have to do that again. No one wants to do that. And if you're not feeling burnt out, just maybe heed the warning that it is, like, it's okay. You don't have to feel guilty to take time for yourself. I feel like this is like, yeah, kick up the butt, but anyway. Okay, moving on to the King of Cups. I'm just getting that same sort of message coming through where it's like the King of Cups is fulfilled within themselves, and they, like, kings don't need to I guess, get approval from anybody else. They don't need to prove themselves to anyone else. So they know when they need to rest, that they don't need to explain it to anybody. Yeah, I wonder, you must have like people. I can see these two birds sitting outside this window, almost like they're just waiting for this person who's like injured or recovering or taking time for rest. It's like they're just waiting there, like tapping the foot, like, come on. You must have people saying something to you, or unless it's just that you have kids and it's like, you know what kids are like, right? Okay, let's see if we can get something else, what else there is here. Getting a funny message come through saying that, like, with all the fish in the sea, the fish won't be as pretty as me. And I don't mean me doing the reading, I mean, I think it's for you. Unless someone's like saying this to you, I don't know what that is. I'm just gonna, like, if it resonates, take it, but I'm just gonna move on and see what else we get. Okay, it's almost like coming through in riddles, and they're just saying that, oh, the moon is pretty, and then getting a message about just sailing away. So I don't know if it's like someone's coming in trying to tell you that there's nobody else like me, but you're like, well, I don't know about that. Maybe there are, but maybe I'm not interested anyway, so I'm just going to move away from that energy. That's so weird. I would also love to know about that in the comments if that actually resonates for anybody. I just feel like at the end of all this, it's just a place that you come to is a place of celebration. And whether it's that whether you're in a relationship or not, it does feel like it's a time where you're engaged in some sort of relationship. There is a second thing that I'm getting come through here, that you being this Queen of Wands, maybe you have been burnt out before from previous relationships, and it's like you want to be you and follow your passions and interests and hobbies, but you feel like maybe the people that you've been with in the past haven't always accepted that, or been as supportive as they could have or probably really should have, where it's left you feeling like you have to choose between yourself or a relationship to be able to actually pursue the things that you need and want in this life, or shut it all down for this relationship, and then we're not happy anyway, and then we sort of are left like, you know, in this place of like, maybe it is feeling burnt out or just in a rest and recovery phase. At the end, like, we can only really choose ourselves anyway, right? Because if we're choosing somebody else over ourselves, then it's not really coming from a place of two full people coming together anyway. It's sort of choosing from a place of I don't know, like, it can be different for everyone. For some people it might be like that feeling of like needing or to be in the relationship, or like a low self-worth or something, because we're choosing them over ourselves, quite literally. So choosing ourselves is going to keep us fulfilled, and then that leaves us in an energy where someone can actually come in and they actually can fulfill us as well as fulfill themselves. And maybe it is that they come in quite fast, or maybe they come in still trying to work that out for themselves. I'm not sure. Maybe not really sure what that energy would be, whether it's just being like quite sharp or quite clear on things, but they are quite fulfilled within themselves. And it seems to be that it is a really fulfilling relationship when you do actually get together there. Yeah. Okay, so that's sort of like people in and out of relationships, and a couple of different, you know, readings going on there, or, you know, different messages for different people within the reading. So that's all I can get from the tarot cards for the moment. I keep getting like called to talk about the Labradorite. Mind you, I probably say it wrong every reading or differently every reading, but it is Labradorite. Okay, anyway, I am going to go get the book for this one. I think it's like a really great stone where it's known for a lot of things. Right now it's just making me think of mermaids, but it's sort of with that, like the beautiful, I don't know if it's pearlescent or iridescent sort of flashes that it gets. It's sort of what I imagine a mermaid's tail would look like, right? As if we sit around and do that. But I do feel like it is protective. It does connect you with your third eye. They're just sort of reinforcing the fact that it's very protective. Oh, there's like more on this side. Yeah, they're saying under the sea, but I'm not sure what that's about. I'm going to go grab the book anyway. We'll see. Okay, so I'm getting, it's a highly mystical and protective stone, a bringer of light. It raises consciousness and connects with universal energies. Labradorite deflects unwanted energies from the aura and prevents energy leakage. It forms a barrier to negative energies shed during therapy. It can take you into another world or into other lives, a stone of esoteric knowledge. Wait for that card to pass. It facilitates initiation into the mysteries. Labradorite aligns the physical and etheric bodies and accesses spiritual purpose. It raises consciousness and grounds spiritual energies into the physical body. This stone stimulates intuition and psychic gifts, including the art of right timing, bringing messages from the unconscious mind to the surface and facilitating their understanding. Psychologically, Labradorite banishes fears and insecurities and the psychic debris from previous disappointments, including those experienced in past lives. It strengthens faith in the self and trust in the universe. It removes other people's projections, including thought forms that have hooked into the aura. Okay. That's all I'm being called to read for the moment for that, but that actually ties in and makes a lot of sense. That's really lovely. So this may be a really good stone for you to do some work with at the moment. Even if you have a piece of it, you can just meditate holding it, and I think that's enough quite often. Unless you have like Labradorite jewelry that you can wear out with you, would be fantastic. So time for an oracle card, and I'll be using the Oracle of the Mermaids. It's just like works perfectly in with what I was mentioning about the Labradorite, reminding me of mermaids anyway. Okay, what have we got? There we go. That's 10 comprised. These cards are like gigantic, and I'm struggling today. I really am. But anyway, let's just do this. Let's go. Yeah. Okay, so the cards that we got was number 11, sacrifice. There are those worth making. There are those that will destroy you. We have number 39, vulnerability. To see, you probably won't be able to see it really well where it is. Vulnerability, open your heart, allow yourself to be tender. And transparency, honest, authentic, genuine, and present. Yeah, that's, to me, it's like, if you're showing up in your power exactly as you are, these are the things that I want in life, and that's, that's being genuine and authentic. if the person leaves, they're not for you. You're putting yourself in a position where you are being vulnerable. But I feel like if you're losing them over something that's just so true to yourself, your being, your nature, it's part of you, then you haven't really lost anything, because in the end, you've really maintained you. You've maintained yourself. And I don't think we always take time to recognize when we make decisions in life, and I have done this many a times, where we choose other people over ourselves, that we, whether it's energetically or subconsciously or unconsciously, we sort of send that message to ourselves that we're actually not worth it, because we did choose that person over ourselves. And it's not something that we're ever really like aware of. Like you can go years without being truly aware of it, until you start doing some work on yourself and, you know, taking time for introspection. Unless you're like quite a clear person that lives in the present quite often, maybe it doesn't take you so long. But it's just that message that we send to ourselves, and you can kind of end up getting caught out in this cycle where we're fueling the fire of like acting out of low self-worth and low self-esteem, but then making these choices that really reiterate that and reinforce it to ourselves, and we can just stay in that cycle. And at some point, you know, you just have to say like, enough is enough, and I'm not going to do this to myself anymore. And whether other people think I'm worth it or not, I have to, because it's the only choice we ever really have. And we can, you know, live out those vicious cycles until the end of our days. And, you know, the only thing it makes me think of is like being on our deathbed and thinking like, what have I done my entire life, just having lived a life where I've constantly betrayed myself. And I don't know if that, hopefully this doesn't like set anyone off into, you know, a state of being triggered or anything. And it's, you know, it's horrible dealing with being triggered, especially if you deal with it quite often or are in a stage where that's something that's coming up quite a bit for you. But don't mind the cars today. Yeah, being triggered, it's not nice. It's, if anything, it's just illumination of, you know, the things that I'm sure we're, you know, by the time that we're being triggered, it doesn't take too long to sort of work out sometimes what it's around and bring awareness to it. But it really is just things we just sometimes need more time with, a little bit of work, or yeah, sometimes time is one of the things that I think can help us, or a different environment. But anyway, guys, that's all that I have for today's reading. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for being here. Hopefully it resonated and it was actually helpful in some way, and I'll catch you guys in the next reading. Okay, welcome group 3. If you chose the Rider-Waite Tarot and the Rhodonite, then this is today's reading for you on how you can choose you. I've been called to actually bring in 2 extra crystals today for this reading. So we have the rose quartz in this hand and the pyrite in this hand, both beautiful crystals. The rose quartz is like that unconditional love, self-love, love of self, yeah, and then the pyrite is like that self-empowerment and willpower and confidence. So you can see how these two can easily go hand in hand. And the rhodonite, this for me is a crystal that we can need to work with or spend time with when we've suffered a lot of, whether it's like heartache or tragedy, or just, I don't know, maybe life's just been getting you down for quite a while, or you just haven't been able to catch a break. This would be a fantastic crystal to work with. It's still working with the heart chakra. I guess, you know, depending on your beliefs, you know, it can be the heart chakra, or it can be the upper or higher heart chakra. That's the pink. Yeah, it's probably something I need to work a bit more with, but anyway. Okay, so moving on. Hoping everyone's getting through this time of year as best as you can. And it can be kind of crazy for a lot of people. What is that? Okay, let's go. So they've all come upside down, those bottom ones, so we'll turn them the right way up. Okay, so the top row of cards, we've got the Hermit, the Page of Swords, the Five of Pentacles, and the Four of Swords. Then with the bottom row, we have the Six of Swords, the Magician, and the Empress. Okay. Just going to take a bit of time with this one and see what messages I can get through from it. So the Hermit is typically, it can be like a card of illumination. It can be that like wise introspection, like that wise, I don't know, wisdom that we gain from introspection, time on our own, seeing clearly, being able to see in the dark. You know, people aren't always willing to look in the dark and see what's there. It can be really knowing ourselves really well. For this, I'm feeling like there's an element of really understanding human nature really well. So I don't know if you have a keen interest or have studied like psychology or some sort of like human behavioral type stuff. Even biology can talk about hierarchy and all sorts of things of how we work out the way we do, which is kind of bizarre because the Hermit card overall is like really peaceful energy, and whenever I think of biology, it's really not peaceful at all. You may be like quite an altruistic person, quite cooperative. You could be seen as an elder or a wise person in your community. They are referencing you could be at a stage in life where that it rings true for you. You could also be, maybe not a teacher, but maybe like a mentor. Like maybe you do have one or two people from time to time that you take under your wing and you sort of show them the way with that guiding light that you have. Getting something here where there's some little birds in the background of this Page of Swords card, and they're saying that these little birds in the background don't matter and he should be focused on like what's in front of him or what's ahead. It doesn't look to me like he's even paying attention to them or giving them any thought, so it's a bit bizarre that that's come through the way it has. Let's see what else we can get. Oh, okay, they're saying that he's not thinking clearly, so I am questioning whether there's been like some sort of gaslighting going on here or something. I don't think that if you are in this energy, we'll see what else we can get from it anyway, but if you are in this energy, I don't feel like you may not even be aware if there's been some sort of gaslighting going on at this point in time. So we'll just see what else there is. I did sort of wonder when these cards first come out if this was two different people, but they're saying that it's not. So, and given that this is a message on how you can choose you, there's got to be something else here, whether I've missed it or we'll build on it, we'll see. I'm getting the feeling that this Hermit is sort of separate, like, I'll explain myself a bit better in a sec. So it's like maybe our story really starts here and talks about this, but the Hermit's sort of some sort of overarching energy. Yeah, so it's like a lack of clarity here. and it feels like it does end up hurting us in some way. That typical thing with the Five of Pentacles leaving us out in the cold. Even if you're in like quite a stressful situation, and you know, when we're quite stressed out, we can lose that clarity. Stress can take a lot of physical toll on the body as well, but it could be much more than that as well. It could be a case of you're in a moment of time where time is really of the essence to get somewhere or do something that's relative to your well-being, so that you can actually rest when you get there. I am getting a message here with the Page of Swords, of saying like overworked and underpaid. Something about communicating back and forth without clarity. This feels very much like workplace. Maybe this is you in your workplace. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it can be different things for everybody. I do feel like there's an obvious lack of clarity here. Yeah. Maybe you haven't had the most solid of foundations either, and you're just trying to logically make your way through whatever this situation is. I'm going to try reading this a different way. And they're just saying to move on, so we'll come back to it. I'm going to try this one as well. They are saying to take your time with this, and don't move too fast, because you will burn yourself out. A funny reference, they're saying like 5 of stars you've been thrown out of a nighttime under the stars. So I don't know if someone has actually lost a home here. I'm getting that's enough for now from that card anyway. Maybe home doesn't feel like home at the moment. Maybe we've just been feeling very defensive. Yeah. Could be feeling defensive, a lack of clarity, being out of sorts, like, I don't know. Yeah. They're just saying taking your time to rest will get you where you need to go. I feel like you do need to take your time to rest here though before you like venture out on some sort of leaving this situation or voyage away from it, so that when you do it you can actually like, you know, you're actually in a place where you can physically make the trek, or make the transition or the change, whatever this is here. It's like, yeah, time for rest, time for recuperation before we can actually step away here. Maybe things are so dire that you actually need to take time for yourself to have enough strength. I am feeling a sense here with the 5 of Pentacles of just feeling betrayed as well. Which would make sense, right? Why you would want to leave a situation. And it could have that real thought and feeling of, it's like starting over, starting fresh, starting new, somewhere different. The Magician can sometimes talk about manipulation and whatnot, but because of like the alchemy, but I feel like this card, the Magician card for me right now, is actually as if it's like it's actually about magic and spirit and being connected and delving into practices. And maybe it's a case that when you do start over, this is what you'll be stepping into, or what you'll be connecting with, or it'll give you room to do that. I'm not sure. Maybe this is like something that you'll end up spending quite a bit of time doing that will sort of help you move on, and eventually land you in this Empress energy. This is kind of big energy, hey. It's just, sometimes I forget that I can take on the energy of a reading and I just think that it's myself, but I actually right now I do feel a little bit weak, a little bit strung out, a little bit run down, a little bit like on edge, or just like, you know, when you get into that state of survival, like fight or flight sort of mode, where you just need to keep going and you can't really stop or rest because it's like you're afraid if you'll do that, you know, you won't be able to start again or something will happen. But here you really need to, it's like you really, really, really need to take rest here where you can, whenever you can get it, you need to. I feel like it's going to be one of the only things that'll help you. But maybe the Hermit. Look, maybe you don't start out as a hermit. Maybe you do, I'm not sure. But it could be this whole journey. I know, to me, it looks like you eventually end up in this energy of being the Empress, right? Well within your power. And I guess when we go through certain things in life, we are left in, like, with no other choice but to step into our own power and to, I don't know, you really find ways to make do with almost nothing, and for some people you can come out on top from it, right? Because you get quite good at it. And maybe what it is that when you do leave this situation or go through this transition, you actually find yourself in a place where it is quite healing and it is really safe and it's quite restorative, and it actually, maybe for you, is the first time in your life where you feel safe enough that you can actually step into this. You can actually be yourself, you can step into your power, and nothing bad will happen. Which is, you know, it's pretty sad if you've not been able to experience that, whether it's ever or for a long time. It's not a nice feeling. But I do have to point out here that this yellow is representative of the solar plexus, with that like self-empowerment and willpower, which can be determination, and that confidence within ourselves. When you go through hard things, you end up having, like, you don't have to be overly confident, but you can have a very quiet confidence about yourself because you know what you can handle. You know that you've got grit, and you know that you can't, like, you know that you can get back up. And so even though I was like sort of thinking about maybe what the journey had been like and how it's been quite sad to maybe not feel safe enough to step into your power or to actually have any true like rest or restorative time, where you've been able to really put roots down and allow yourself to grow and develop into something, or build a skill or some sort of craft that can get you to this place of the Empress. It is sad, and I feel nostalgic, and I feel sentimental and melancholic, and they're almost, I'm just, every time I think of it, and I get this like sad, sick feeling in my gut, and they just call me back to think about this yellow, like being in your strength, being in your power, knowing what you're worth, knowing what you're made of, right? And if you struggle with self-worth, then knowing what you're made of can be enough sometimes to show us that, you know, maybe you didn't have the best like self-esteem, but knowing that you can go through all of this and overcome it, there's got to be something more to you, right? Like you can't dismiss that, you can't ignore that, you can't downplay it, you can't minimize it. Any of these behaviors that may have been taught to you, or maybe just our own negative patterns that we've fallen into, from how others have treated us. Yeah, this feels like a journey to becoming the hermit, to finding our wisdom, to finding our light. Maybe it's the case of like the hermit can just be like that long inner journey as well. And maybe throughout this whole time, all you're doing is sort of holding on to your little lantern, like looking inside of yourself, trying to work out, you know, taking that time to find out how you'll get through it. And maybe you do become really wise, or I'm not sure. I feel, I don't know, I feel sad for you guys, but for whatever this is, I'm not really getting much more on this situation. Of course, it can always be for multiple different people, but yeah, just if you can just acknowledge where you've come from, then that's sort of how you can choose you, right? It's just knowing what you're made of. And I feel like at this point, I don't know if there's really a case of a lack of boundaries or anything, right? Because that's sometimes how we've had to, and how we've ended up being in this journey, because we have actually stood up for ourselves. And that could actually be what this Page of Swords is that maybe you actually did enforce your boundaries with someone and they didn't like it, you know, you having boundaries, even though it's just a part of being like a healthy human being. And maybe because of that, you ended up out in the cold. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't uphold your boundaries. You definitely should, but it ended up being a hard road in this particular instance. Yeah. Whew. Guys, you're gonna make me cry. Alright, let's see if there's anything else here before we move on to an oracle card. They're just sort of mentioning for you to stay grounded. If you meditate, I don't need to tell you how good it is. It would be a really good time, maybe after this reading, to, as soon as you get some downtime, or as soon as you can, go and meditate. And it might help you just sort of release some of this energy back into the earth, because it is heavy, and I do feel for you guys, and it's a lot to carry on your own. If you have a good friend or a loved one that you can share it with, and it will be met well or well received, please do. It's that whole thing of like, a burden shared is a burden halved, and it's not always exactly that it works out like that, but on the chance that it can and will, it's worthwhile to do so. Okay, that's all I'm getting for the cards right now. I'm feeling that energy lift a little bit, which is nice, but we'll see what oracle card we'll use. Can I just say, like, I know I mentioned about the Rhodonite at the start of this reading, how it can sort of be about like it's the heart chakra stuff, but it can be about like tragedy and, you know, tough things playing out, lots of heartache and stuff. This actually feels like it connects like really well with this reading. Hopefully it does for you too. But do you know what? Before I pick an oracle card, we're going to use the Palo Santo to just clear this a little bit more. I did feel like it lifted, and I have felt that before. Sometimes energy can be transmuted during a reading, whether it feels like that for you or not. Hopefully it does. We'll just clear it up a bit anyway before we move on. And for those of you that don't meditate, maybe just take some quiet time to go sit in nature somewhere, even if you just have a backyard. If you don't have a backyard, if you can get to a local park or to a beach or something, just somewhere that's like not in the home, not around people. Go on your own. If you've got little kids and you know you don't have people that can help you with them, take your kids to a playground, let them play at the park, and then you just sit in the grass and just don't go on your phone. But like, you've got to sit there in the present moment, and if you have to cry silently in the park while your kids play, that's what you have to do. And if you don't have kids, I'm sorry, that's just obviously a message for somebody else, but it's, you know, fingers crossed none of us have to experience that too much. Sometimes we do. It's just part of the journey, right? I almost have to like go Palo Santo myself. I feel like I've picked up the energy. All right. I think we'll use use black kyanite as well. Cool, hopefully that will help anchor out the rest of this reading just to get through it. I'm feeling called to use the Chakra Love cards, and we'll see what we get here. It'll be, what did we get? Man, this same card has come out for like, I think 3 or 4 maybe 3 readings in a row, and it's the heart chakra with the crystal jade. Compassion, resolve your conflicts with compassion. And to me, this is like having compassion for yourself, for everything that you've been through, for where you're at now. Sometimes we don't realize, like sometimes we can look at the choices that we've made in life and go, do you know what, that was actually, it was silly, it was stupid. No matter what way you justify it, you know that it wasn't a great choice, right? What we don't realize sometimes is the depths of where we've started out unconsciously, with whether it's the way we've been raised or it was just, you know, whatever it is. There are things within us that the reason why we are acting out that way. And as we get older and we change and we develop and we grow up a little bit, or we move on with life, and we can be a very different person, and we can look back and you can still not really have that level of compassion for yourself, even though you're quite young, and it's probably quite normal. Hopefully that resonates for someone, but whatever your story is, you just need to have a level of compassion for yourself. No one can, there's no amount of compassion anyone else can give to you that is of the same value as to what you can give yourself. It's obviously, it's lovely. There's nothing better to me than when people around us are compassionate towards us. But ultimately, no matter how many people are doing that, we still need to do it with and for ourselves. And I guess and it doesn't matter how many people are being compassionate towards us, if we don't believe that we deserve that compassion, then it's not really being received, is it? And we're the only ones that can forgive ourselves, and we're the only ones that can let ourselves move on. So, yeah. If that wasn't enough from the rant and rave, you should go Google jade, or if you already know what jade is and you have a piece, maybe that would be a good crystal to work with for a little bit as well. Okay, let's see what else there is. Okay, so next I'm using the Magical Spirit Oracle. I know I live on a pretty quiet street, but all the cars today, all the cars. Okay, so the cards that I've gotten, or we have gotten, we have, it is safe to surrender to the good feelings, the lover, Aphrodite, passion and abundance. There's a lot of energy around her heart there, and I do think that ties in with that message for being compassionate to ourselves. Yeah, it's okay to do that for yourself. The next card that we have is the Voyager with return home, lessons and realizations, and it's okay to forget and then remember all over again. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's also card number 10, which can be closing out or completing a cycle. And the last card that we have is acceptance, letting go, water, non-resistance. You can let go now, surrender to what is. Yeah. I feel like that all ties in really well. I do feel called to just grab another deck. So this is the Soul Mirror Oracle. It's actually, I don't know why, it's like a deck that I bought and I haven't even used that often, and it just feels like really special to me. Let's see what we got. Okay, so we got the cards Perceptive with Oblivious and Aware. I feel like this is awareness now. This awareness, this is you in your awareness or becoming aware. If it's not from this video, you may have already been for a little bit, maybe for a long while, I'm not sure. Yeah, acknowledging that our perception is everything as well. The second card that we got is Reflection with Outward and Inward. This is all internal reflection. Okay, group 3, that is everything that I have for today's reading. I hope that, you know, this resonated and it was helpful, you got something out of it. Yeah, I would love to know, please feel free to share, like in the comments and whatnot. Otherwise, thank you for joining me for today's video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.